counting down the top 9 things we've learned about podcasting from New Voodoo research.
This is finding number 6.
Quality really matters.
If the podcaster is not knowledgeable, that's a quick way to annoy me.
Sometimes, audio quality can lack a little bit.
Drastically different volume.
The people who take too long to ask a question really kind of irks me.
Sometimes when it's bad audio mixing, that drives me nuts.
Of the roughly 5,000 interviews we conducted with 14 to 57-year-old listeners across the nation, approximately 1 in 3 meet the definition of a podcast regular. This is the segment that engages for a minimum of 1 hour each week. In previous videos, we've shown how podcast regulars see themselves as smarter, more curious, and better informed as a result of their weekly habit. But these days, when earbuds are off and recharging, these listeners are no longer buzzing about the latest episodes with their friends, as has been the case in years past. Many, in fact, wish there were better podcasts available in the subject areas that interest them. And when we probe further for specific complaints, we get an earful. Fully 70% of regular podcast consumers named at least one thing about podcasts that they don't like. Some of these issues involve basic blocking and tackling that can and should be addressed by producers before a podcast is ever posted. Others are execution related and can be improved upon over time with proper coaching and consulting. But overall, the message here for podcasters is quite clear. Quality matters. Audio is an issue with at least a fifth in the overall sample. Inconsistencies in the sound mix, where podcasts drift from overmodulated to downright indecipherable, is the prevalent gripe, especially across Gen Z and among millennial men. And here's how podcast hosts get dinged by regular listeners. Nearly a third of Gen Z women, and around a quarter of all men, say hosts are simply too repetitive. Not quite 30% of millennial men find them to be inconsistent from one podcast episode to the other, whereas for Gen Z men, it's about incoherent transitions within the same podcast as show hosts jump from one topic to another. Gen X women and their younger Generation Z counterparts think podcast hosts simply take too long to get to the main point. All are simple fixes, but nevertheless critical boxes to check in order to retain an audience already overwhelmed by the sheer magnitude of podcast choices, as you will see in finding number 5. We'll see you in the next video.
New Voodoo conducts research studies and manages marketing campaigns for podcasters.
It's easy to get in touch. Drop us a line at tellmemore@newvoodoo.com.